So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. Well, yesterday was a fun day. Every single thing went wrong yesterday. Had a bit of a absolute nightmare, and I found out one very, very valuable thing, and that is that Diet Coke is not good for MacBook laptops. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to be asking you guys to think about something, and that is with respect of the Idaho 4 case. And look, I know we do a lot of videos on the Idaho 4 case, and I feel that it kind of becomes a bit like an obsession because nothing about this case is seemingly normal. There's so many things that just don't sit right and has you pondering different aspects. And one of the aspects that got brought up in a conversation that I had yesterday was with regards to the why of this case. Now, we spend a lot of time pondering on whether Bryan Kohberger was the person who did it, whether there was someone else involved, whether he did it on his own, and all these questions. But one of the big questions that is often one of the main elements of a case that law enforcement have to ascertain is the why. They sort of cover the means, the motive, and the opportunity, but the why something happens is such an important part of learning why something happened. You know, why did this person do this crime? But a conversation I had, like I said, I had a conversation, the person who I had this conversation with, well, does it matter? Does the why of this case really matter? Or is it just a case of, look, it happened, and if you can prove that this person did it, does why they did it mean anything? And I think it was a hard question to answer, because I feel that what the danger is in cases like the Idaho 4 case is, when you delve into the why, do you uncover things about the victims that then makes it look like you are trying to, I don't know, soften the blow to the person who did it? You know, be a bit of a sympathizer to Bryan, if indeed Bryan is the guy. Are you trying to be sympathetic to what he did? Are you trying to say that, like we've heard other things being mentioned in the Idaho 4 case about Hannah Clary and potential bullying that happened with some of these victims? And, you know, people had speculated earlier on whether this was retaliation. There was people involved in, you know, in this was retribution. And, you know, for me, I feel that it is important to understand why somebody did something, because when you're looking at a case that could potentially take their life, you almost have to understand whether they deserve to have their life ended. And by doing that, you have to ascertain whether they had, how can I say, without sounding like an absolute arsehole, whether they had any choice in what happened. You know, it's almost that nature or nurture. You know, it's what do they say? They say that nature loads the gun and, I don't know, is it nature loads the gun and the environment pulls the trigger, so to speak? But, you know, the nature versus nurture thing. Are people born evil? Is someone who did this crime, are they born into a body with which there is no control of it? You know, maybe this person, again, if Bryan Kohberger is the guy, is it that it took 28 years before he was finally overpowered by urges that couldn't be controlled in the end? And again, this isn't about being sympathetic. This is about understanding why this crime was committed in the first place. Why did Ethan, Xana, Kaylee and Maddie have to lose their lives? Why did they have to lose their lives? Is it, like I say, is it this, that there was a monster that just couldn't be controlled? And you think to yourself, what help would have been there for this person? What You know, it's like the film Minority Report, where there's that future crime division where you get reprimanded and punished for doing something before you do it. And it's even in that film, even though this is just a film, it kind of touches on the mortality of people and how people act and react. You know, they say in this film that it's very hard to try and intervene in something that is not premeditated, because it's you know, but there is still a fraction of time with which they can come in and they can stop it happening. But anyway, I digress. Is the why important? Is the why important to understand? Is the why important to understand what punishment needs to be made? I don't know, and it's a like I say, it's a hard question. But I'll be interested in hearing from you guys. Do you feel that in a case like the Idaho 4 that it is important to really understand why it happened? Or is that just an avenue that doesn't need to be ventured down? And is your reason for not venturing down it purely because you feel that venturing down it may reveal stuff about the victims that shouldn't be? Or is it just that you feel that, you know, there's nothing that can be changed? You know, we heard Ethan's mum is not going to be attending court, and she says that it's just not going to change the outcome. And I feel that if you was to say to her, do you want to know why this happened? You know, we know why this happened. Do you want to know? Would she want to know? Or would she have the same mentality of, what is knowing going to prove? What is knowing going to change? I've rambled long enough. I'm going to let you go. Bit of a different video, this one. Just pondering. Catch you all in the next one.